Today we're the 15th of September 2021 and I am still in Amsterdam. I am sorry for the terrible background noise. There's construction work which starts quite early every morning in front of my room. And today I want to answer the question: do you make the first move and why? And simultaneously, I guess, answer the question, which was, do you want to live for a long time? So there's this thing that happened since I turned 24. And it's something which I can't describe better than just the impression that I can sit next to my death. So what that means practically is that a lot of decisions that I have to take, I now think of them in a very much shorter time span. It is quite a scary reaction, I have the feeling, because it makes me extremely aware of how much there's no time, but it is also a great tool because I feel like it somehow disconnects me from my ego in quite interesting way. I think I've never been someone who was shy or someone who didn't dare to do things, but I think I've been quite often preoccupied by what people would think, whether it's my family or strangers or anyone. But I think that it's great to see that with age I slightly disconnect, and that somehow in any decision I take I'm just able to balance a bit more what are the real consequences. And quite often, when it's decisions that only imply me and when I don't hurt others, there's not much consequences. So these past years and months, I would say, I've been quite often the person who make a move, because I get there's just one thing I fear with time passing by, is that I fear to regret not to dare. I also have this very problematic idea that I should do certain things while I'm young and that there's others that I can't do later, which I think is also something I have to work on. But this idea of being able to sit next to my death has been a quite interesting tool to make sure that I can change the scale of any idea that I have or experience that I want to take. It is also quite an absurd realization, because then it's just a constant reminder that you're going to die, which is quite weird to think of, but I also think it makes me more humble and more detached from what happens to myself, at least. It actually makes me think of something that I used to do when I was younger, like maybe 12 or 13. And I used to be quite anxious about situations, relationship, life, family. And one trick that I would use was that I used to think that I would die at 27, as if it was something that was gonna happen anyway. and the shortness of time, and the idea of having a deadline that wasn't as long as 90, 80 or whatever more, was helping me to actually be more proactive about my life. So it's actually pretty dark, but I was just trying to think that time was short, because for me it appeared to be impossible to deal with all these feelings and anxiety for so long. I was like thinking I was just not gonna be able to live properly or something like this. So I, of course, got rid of this idea. I got rid of this idea and I want to live longer. But at the same time, turning 24 this year is really making me think of how much then that strategy turned around or something like this. There used to be a time where I used to think everything would be so long and I would want to shorten time. And now I have the feeling that everything is going to be quite short. And I wouldn't want to give more length to this time, but excuse me. I wouldn't want to give more length to this time, but I feel like I just get this awareness right now that my life and my actions are somehow extremely important and relevant to the state of the world, but also extremely minimal and innocent in the great scheme of things. So it's something that I've tried to balance a bit more this past month. I think it also been a coping mechanism to deal with the idea of age, which I think as a cis woman I have to work on a lot to deconstruct. But I think that somehow this perspective and this strategy has helped me make first moves even more than before, while still respecting myself, of course, and others. But surely also make me perceive life in a different scale.